out how to interact with comments? Is that just you?
I think it's just me. Welcome, everybody. We are live, and I'm joined tonight with some friends. As you can see, Conversations with Chaz. We'll see how the conversation goes. But you can see I got a nice, cool little overlay, which is all about me and ego-driven, as we were just joking before we went live. And yeah. So, and we've got some questions tonight, you guys. So this will be powerful. I love Cameron. Cameron last night said, Jay Hoffman. Well, Renee got here first because we invited her, but Jay Hoffman was first, and then Texas North in the house.
There he is.
And,
Gary.
There's Gary. So Cameron last night, as you guys know, mentioned there's Lynn, and he mentioned that we have Gary V, Tea with Gary V or whatever it was, and he's like, you should do that. And so we brought Cameron on. We answered his question, but I don't know if you guys saw, because he sent it. I think he just tagged me in on his Facebook page, but he said, if you guys caught last night, that he stepped away, which took him a second. He was stepping away from reading his kids a bedtime story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as soon as the live was over last night, he went and recorded he and his kids getting ready to do the bedtime story on the All Said Hi to Me. I thought it was really cool.
That's cool.
Sent it to me on Facebook. So we appreciate people on the East Coast who are up late and participating. So Renee, why don't you, for those who don't know you, why don't you and Corey introduce yourselves?
Okay, hey, I'm Renee Pride, and I am the Master Network's regional partner in Illinois. And I was just telling that story earlier today that I joined Master Networks and believed in Chaz, and after our first phone call, had never even been to a meeting. And I was like, yes, this sounds amazing. Let's do it. So that's me.
That's awesome.
That's just it. That's it. There's more.
Me.
There's much more. Be honest.
There's so much more. All right, Corey.
Corey Bauman. I am wear a couple hats. So main hat is COO here at Master Network. So I run our operations and work with our fantastic team, and blessed to work with Chaz on a daily basis. And then I also am the regional partner for our Pennsylvania region. So I was born and raised in Pennsylvania, and moved out here to Texas back in 2017 to take this opportunity. But I've been, doing my best to grow our region out there in Pennsylvania and keep those folks connected. And so just happy to be doing everything I'm doing right now.
Yeah, it's so good. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you're here. We got a lot of people joining us tonight. So here's the deal. Interesting economic times that we're in for small business, for local business. I mean, we just believe in local businesses. We believe they're the backbone of economy. And this is, I actually had a count and I lost count how many straight nights we've gone live. And we're over 30 something straight nights of going live at 8 p.m. Central. So if you're a business owner, sales professional, actually doesn't matter even if you are or you're not, you're welcome to join every night, 8 p.m. Central. And this is what happened last night. We went live and someone said, hey, you should start, because you do all this business coaching and your team does, you guys should start answering questions live. And so I was like, that's a great idea. So what I did is I created a form for you last night, and I'm going to post it right in the chat here. We just posted it on some of the channels. It's not allowing us, and that's fine. But if you're on our Master Networks page or my Facebook page, you'll see it. You can click on that link, and if you'd like to be on one of these Facebook Lives and share your question, we'd love to invite you to do it and participate. You've got wisdom from Corey and Renee. If you'd like to be on tonight, let us know, and one of them will send you the link. I think because I sent it to both of you. So if you see someone in here that wants to join with a question, one of you guys can send it to them. Are you guys ready to answer a question tonight? Because here's the thing. A question can help anyone, right? Not just the person who's asking the question. And it takes a lot of courage to do it. And so we're excited for that. We already have over 50 people watching right now.
It's awesome.
This fast. So it's probably not because of any of us. It's because of the guy we're bringing on to ask the question.
That's so true.
So, all right. So Steven sent in a request last night. So I'm going to bring Steven on here. Steven, welcome.
Hey, Steven.
It's been so long, Steven.
Renee, you just spoke not too long ago.
You guys did a face-to-face today.
Oh,
man.
wait a second. Did you already ask the question and get the
Yeah.
answer?
No.
Well, I held off on that.
No, so Renee did a face-to-face with him today. So you probably already answered the question. Let's be honest.
Okay.
Oh, she probably no. She went into her family history, so that took.
Hey, do not. That is not for this conversation.
Uh-oh. She might have the power to remove you from the live stream, so be careful, right?
No doubt about that.
Listen, guys, I want to welcome. We got a lot of people watching tonight, and Stephen, just want to first of all appreciate you stepping forward and saying you got a question. This is the power of a network. This is the power of what we do, is to support and help each other. So, why don't you go ahead and shoot? Send us the question off here. Let everyone know what you're asking, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So my question last night was, being a small business owner, I work for a window and door company. What would be, I run a sales team of 4 people. So for me, right now, we're in a virtual world during the pandemic here. I'm trying to manage my sales team in person and also virtual. What would you guys recommend to hold accountability for your sales team during this epic time right now that everybody's dealing with from a small business perspective?
I love it. First of all, tell everyone where you're from, Stephen.
Yeah, I'm from Poughkeepsie, New York, and I'm the president of the Wappinger Falls chapter.
Yeah, you guys just launched pretty quickly, right? Or about to?
We did, very close. We got 10 members, so drive to
Great.
5. I was telling Renee that home run.
Home run.
Home run.
I love it. Stephen, thanks for the question. Either of you want to jump in?
I mean, I think, a lot of things popped in my head immediately just because, we've had to do the same thing. We have, I think 13 staff members right now, team members. And so we've done a couple different things. I think the main thing is to have regular communication, because the communication obviously has changed. It's what you'll find is, if you haven't already, is that your team members will adjust differently. All of them will be a little bit different on how they adjust. We've used, I think Chaz has mentioned it. There is a software called Sococo. It's a virtual software. You can create a virtual office, and we do that. So we have, you can actually create an office. So we have different people in different offices. It kind of creates like an avatar for each person. And we do morning huddles. So we were doing, Monday morning meetings on a regular basis, but now every single morning we do a huddle, just a real quick huddle, 10, 15 minutes. We go around, how can we support you? What are you working on? What can we do to help support you? Not just in what you're executing today, but maybe what you have going on personally right now at home, what you're battling. Maybe you've got some kids at home, that you're trying to homeschool, whatever it is. We just, my main thing is just to make sure that we're all there for our people right now and supporting them the best we can. And also making sure that obviously they're still staying in motion, being productive and executing. We've been doing a good job of, obviously, as you guys know, we're just throwing out a bunch of stuff, valuable stuff, but we just keep moving.
I think I'm going to share my screen, Corey. I pulled up Sococo so you can see what he's talking about, you guys. I'm just going to share my screen so you can see it. Let me know if you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our virtual office right now that we operate in. Okay. And so you can see Corey's yacht right outside.
Not my yacht.
I mean, listen, if you're going to have a virtual office, why not have a virtual yacht, right? So we like this platform, and Corey kind of designed this virtual office to closely mimic our physical office somewhat. But it's cool because you can, so this is my little icon right here in my office, but I can jump over to the team room, or I can go in the conference room, and you can virtually shut the door, and other people can join you in that room. And then you can click the camera up here and you can have a Zoom conversation in that room. And so, or you can send chat messages throughout the day. So it's a way for us, it's a way for us to sort of, come together as a group. It's been a way for us to stay connected each day. So we, for instance, Stephen, we virtually huddle every morning.
Gotcha.
So I don't know how often we think the huddle is a really important thing.
Yeah, we do Thursday morning sales sales meetings and stuff like that on Zoom. We do follow-up Fridays still, even like from a virtual standpoint, but obviously not being in person makes a big difference. And like Corey said, there's more distraction. Depending on your industry, right? I'm in construction, but other people are in industries that are not up and running. So how do you keep the motivation? How do you keep the drive? How do you keep the accountability to continue to push? So when they do uplift the band, you have a strong sales pipeline to come out of this light on the other side.
Yeah. Hey, Corey, do you want to send Gary the link too? We'll bring Gary on here if he wants to.
Yep.
I was going to say, Gary has some great comments there about measuring. And I know that's what we focused on in our meeting, in our chapter meetings, is the measurement. And I know I'm part of a local group here called Operation Motivation. And it's been interesting because, the motivation of everybody kind of goes up and down in that group. And there are some days that you'll see people that like their motivation is, this big. Like their claim for their goal, it's just that day that they can just get by. And then there's other days that they can do big things. And so like Corey said, I think it's just being in communication and knowing that we're not all feeling the same on every day, but we also have to measure and focus on what's next and what's our goals so that we don't stay in that feeling.
Yeah, I would say it's important to huddle with your team every day. And so either you use a system like we use, or you can use apps like Voxer, VOXER. It's a walkie-talkie app. We use that.
Okay.
And I think it's got to be every single day you're touching that team and huddling together, because right now it's going to take you probably 10 times more contacts to a sale, if not more, than you were doing before. And so that's going to take a lot of motivation for them to stay plugged in and have the stamina. And that's going to come from you.
Yep.
Which then the second point is, who's filling your vessel? Who's motivating you if you're now having to motivate at a 10 times and 10 times higher level, right?
Yeah. So I would also say, Chaz, with that, we have a 10-year guy. I have 2 30-year vets. I have a newly sales assistant, less than a year on the job. So I have different experience levels that I'm trying to manage. And virtually, I would say, maybe speaking from all other business owners, it can be a challenge, So these little things are helpful, to keep your team motivated. And everybody needs a different type of accountability if your sales team is spread out, like ours.
So there's two quick things that I'm going to bring Gary on. Is there's a difference too between the motivation and the accountability. Those are really two different things. And to Gary's point, which I'll bring him on here, it's all about numbers. People will lie, but numbers don't. Right? Let's bring our man in here. What's up, Gary?
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hello, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Gary, you want to make comment on what you were typing there in the comments?
Yeah, I love what you said, because there's a difference between accountability and motivation, right? And Steve, you were talking about you have different people from 30-year veterans to brand new people, but numbers tell me everything I need to know. Numbers don't lie. They are the ingredients to the recipe to success. And, we talk about your key metrics in Master Networks all the time. And the first one is leads, right? I mean, you can't, the thing that's crazy about it, everybody wants to get up and hit a home run, but you got to dig into the batter's box, right? You can't stay in the dugout and hit that home run. And, and you're going to, listen, you can be in the Hall of Fame by being a career 300 hitter, which means you're going to fail 7 times out of 10. But you got to get up there and take the cuts. And the reality of it is, you got to have leads. You got to fill your funnel. You got to build your pipeline. You got to have leads. Then those leads lead to appointments, and you got to track those things. And then those appointments will turn into deals, right? So the beautiful thing about it is you've got people that are there for 30 years and people that have been there for 6 months. Someone that's been there for 6 months could be knocking it out of the park, right? And someone that's been there for 30 years, they could be getting stale. They can be getting, a little, taking some things for granted. So if you've got those metrics, if you've got someone who's sitting there saying, they got to make 100 outbound dials to get 20 appointments, and you got somebody else that's making 40 outbound dials to get to 20 appointments. Well, you need to pull that person in that's doing 40 calls and listen to their calls. What are they doing? How are they saying it? Are they practicing bond? Are they connecting with the people? And maybe then have that person, because here's the beautiful thing about empowering people. You take that person that's making 40 outbound dials to get 20 appointments and have them share what they're doing with the rest of the team. Right. And then what happens is, now here's the problem. Here's the problem with most sales teams, because then you have that certain type of personality that will say, well, Steve's only making 40 calls. So I'm only going to make 40 calls. Wait a minute. It's not about the 40 calls. It's about the 20 appointments. So, as Chaz talks about time on the task and skill set, right? Someone may have to make 100 calls to get 20 appointments, but the idea is the goal the 20 appointments or the calls? The first step is the appointments, and then what are you converting?
Yeah.
So that, you got to have those things that.
Gary, I would say too, I think the other big key there is, our training modules have changed, right? Because we were doing, foot traffic prospecting on Tuesdays and Thursdays with my 10-year guy who's making serious progress right before the pandemic hit. So now it's all phone calls. You know what I mean? So the whole training module has changed, and that's where we need to adapt and, continue to bring in those leads, like you were saying, where the 30-year guys were, doing that already.
And there's two types of the phone calls to make, right? Are they getting directly to the decision maker right away, or do they have to get through a gatekeeper? And so you have to leave a powerful, compelling message that they want to call back, right? They want to call back. They're reaching back out. And then when they do reach out, are they doing a pitch right away, or are they scheduling an appointment?
This is why I love Gary. You got, I think, I counted 5 baseball analogies in one answer. It was so good.
He knew his audience.
Right.
I love it.
And he knew he was a baseball guy. So the other important thing, and Gary brings up, is, this is the time. There's a void right now in your industry. There's a void that's opened up because other window companies aren't going to get out and hit it hard like you guys are doing it. So what an opportunity to do this. To, number one, if you don't have a CRM, a contact management system, go out and get Next Level Suite, NL Suite, NLSUITE.com. That's one that we promote and use, and it's got a dialer in there too. So here's the other thing. You could put the dialer in there and get your whole team on the dialer, and now they can't lie to you about the number of calls they make or didn't make, right? Because it tracks it. And so you can see, right? So that's one thing. The other thing is, think about how creative you could get right now in this, sitting with windows and doors, right? You guys do doors as well?
We do.
Okay, so gosh, there's so much play on the pandemic and isolation, and I saw somebody did a thing where they had a window, and they did like a TikTok, and they did Adele's, where she's like, "Hello, it's me." Like, it's like you could do all these fun things about how, hey, you can't leave, so why not get better windows, right? So you can see your neighbors walking since you have to sit inside or whatever. Like, there's such an awesome opportunity for you guys to have fun with this and get creative and fill the void that's out there of other windows and door companies that just are not doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
Steve, one of the things I love about Next Level Suite, and we use it for both of our companies, is also there's a video content creator there. So think how powerful, Chaz talks about being creative. Think how powerful it is to actually send a video to your prospects. Do you guys manufacture your stuff or just resell it?
Just resell it.
Okay, so you can talk about what you have in stock, so there's not a long delay in after you do the deal getting the product to the work site, right? You can walk them through the showroom, you can walk them through what you have. But how great is it to actually see you instead of just a voice on the other end? Hey, this is a guy.
We're doing virtual calls. We're doing that type of thing. We started our marketing pitch.
It's good, man.
People are stuck inside, so we're driving that home. And honestly, you got homeowners, their minds churning a little bit about the spring projects and what they need to do. And a lot of our competition is closed down, whereas, we're deemed essential and we're a distributor. So we're able to continue to operate, on a timely basis.
You know what? I will say this. If you track those numbers with your team, like I covered, the leads, the appointments, the deals, and then obviously you look at the income, and then if they're outside sales, you can track their expenses so you know who's profitable and to what extent. Are you purchasing leads at all?
We're not.
Okay. So here's the other thing. What's fun is when you see someone that you're tracking these numbers on and they start getting better and their skill set keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and their conversion rate starts climbing and they're having to make less phone calls to generate more revenue. It's exciting because then you could hold them up to the rest of the team as a success story, that the fact that they're coachable and this one tweak made all the difference in their presentation or the amount of calls they're getting back or their close rate. I mean, the numbers tell you everything, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. And honestly, I would say, because we do residential and commercial, so our commercial side of the business is legit frozen right now because the contractors with more than one can't be on the job site. So we're really driving the retail division right now with homeowners. So that's going to be a key. But that leads into my next question, guys. Like, being a small business, right? We don't have a big budget for marketing. I mean, Master Networks, Chaz, has been a blessing for me to continue to drive referrals, right? How do you take a small budget, from a small business, Gary, and where should we be putting our dollars and our money right now? Is this the time to dial it up where there's so much uncertainty, or is it a time where you churn and burn with your current CRM, and where should we be and what should we be doing?
Let me
Our Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Those are besides that, is there anything else that you guys recommend?
Yeah, let's get Renee and Corey to jump in here too.
Go ahead, Renee.
Well, when he said, I mean, I can't compete with Chaz singing, but I was thinking too, I think
Really?
you guys knew. Did you see Jody Bach? Like, she had that TV where she was actually talking to her mom. Her mom's in an assisted living facility and she's outside talking. And you've seen a lot of those. And not to like really play on something, but again, those are things that if you have clients that you've installed Windows for, and can get those pictures or get your watermark on there, tag people, and just really go with the personal story right now. I think they will do a lot of the work for you, and it doesn't cost you money to get it done.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would be putting all my energy right now into my database, and I would be, because people are answering the phone right now. Yep. Let's be honest. They weren't before, but they are now.
Right now.
You're going to get more people. I would hammer first the people, your biggest raving fans, hammer those people. Also get them to do like what Renee was saying, get them to do like little short video testimonials, even with your phone. Get them to do something real quick you can post on social media, because guess where everyone else is right now? They're on social media. And anything good and positive you can put out there certainly helps. It helps your case. But I mean, I don't know, let you guys jump in, but I wouldn't be spending a ton of money on marketing per se right now. I'd be connecting and using my database. And we just talked about that last week, actually. And the database is really your business anyway, right? So continue to build that. That's the value of your business.
The one-man jobs, I've been popping out there and putting lawn signs out, taking pictures from the outside, marketing that. But I think you're right with the database. Really dial in and see what we could do from a leads perspective.
Stephen, do you just do business in New York State, or are you in the tri-state area?
Tri-state, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. Yep.
So I'm going to tell you right now, the best, most organized guerrilla marketing that exists on the planet is Master Networks. I would make sure every single one of my salespeople were in a chapter, and I would use Direct Track, and I would find your key synergy partners, and I would visit as many chapters as I possibly could. I would even, if possible, come up with some Master Network pricing for members. And I would promote, and I would promote, and I would promote. The leverage of this network can blow your business up to unseen heights. And Corey's right, Renee's right. The network itself will fill your CRM. It's unbelievable. The people that are unicorns like you, that aren't in every single chapter, the people that leverage their membership and visit the chapters that their seat's not taken in and build those key synergistic partnerships, the rewards are unbelievable about how much traction they get for their.
So I have two thoughts here, Stephen. The first one I'll subtly put on the screen.
I don't see it.
So no, here's the point, right? The reason why is because
1983 scrolling right there.
StreamYard's awesome. Don't make fun of it.
So here's the point. Several of the things you asked, the presenters are actually talking about specifically in the summit. And so there's two things I would look at. I would look at, what are my prospecting efforts? So we've talked about those, right? Phone calls, that kind of stuff. And there's nothing that will motivate your team more than you jumping on the phone and them seeing you, or you recording yourself or whatever. Like, hey, it's one thing for Stephen to tell everyone, get on the phones, and then they see you doing it, right? Hey, anybody you couldn't get through to, or anyone you couldn't close that was interested, send them my way. I'll help close them for you. That kind of stuff. And I'm sure you do that. The second thing, though, I would say is not in lieu of prospecting. That's always massive. But if I was looking at it, I'd do 80-20 right now, and I still would do 20% marketing. If you get in the summit, Jason Wilson talks about Facebook marketing right now.
Okay.
And it is absolutely pennies on the dollar. So if you were ever going to attempt trying it, and seeing what worked and pushing $1,000 towards something, you could get a ton of ad spend right now for $1,000, and you could get so targeted to those neighborhoods that you are already knocking doors on to just stay in front of them. If nothing else, $500 to $1,000 to stay in front of them right now. And then what if you guys were calling that same neighborhood and they're seeing it on Facebook? Like, they're like, man, this window and door company, they're serious, man. And we need to really, reach out to them. Because remember, buying is a process, not an event, right? The actual event is when you sign paperwork and pay. But the process started long before. Somebody didn't typically wake up and go, wow, I need a new door today, or a new window unless it broke, right? They're thinking about it over time. So make sure. I know, Renee, you were about to jump in.
Well, I just had an idea that's creative. Do you have any window washers in your Master Networks group?
I don't.
Or window washing companies that need to be in your new chapter?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, tag team that thing. Because people have dirty windows and they're stuck at home too.
I hate cleaning windows personally, so I get it.
Do that together.
Yeah, it's good. Man, Stephen, thank you so much for jumping on. Guys, if there's anyone else that has a question that wants to hop in, I wasn't watching the questions close enough, but if there is anyone that wants to hop in and ask a question, please don't be shy, because look at all the great stuff that we were able to share with Stephen and his company. And, the other thought I had too is several people put in here that they have, they need new windows and doors, and obviously they're in different states. Are you guys able to refer to different window and door, strategic partnerships that you could create referral fees with?
We are actually, yeah. And we have 20 plus manufacturers, and depending on the job size, we can actually do direct ship to their home or their business or wherever it is. So I appreciate it.
Well, there's a way to get plugged into all the Master Networks chapters with that.
Yeah, because I think I saw on Facebook today, there's a new house going up right next to Chaz, so they could probably use some doors and windows.
There we go.
Yeah. You guys saw that? I'm like, yeah. I'm hearing this beeping all morning. I'm like, what is that? And I go outside and they're just plowing the lot next to me. They're just mowing it over. So,
hey, and Steven, look me up in Direct Track. I'd love to do a face-to-face with you and see how
I would love that.
I can help you guys out anyway.
He does an entertaining face-to-face.
I don't know what that means, but I'm interested.
Hey, don't get me in trouble, jeez.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Yeah, Steven, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for hopping in.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
buddy.
Have a good one, Steven.
Good luck, Steven.
Hey guys, wow, that was awesome. That was great to get some good questions, and I think the answers were spot on. You guys did a good job. There's just a lot of people that need to up their lead generation right now instead of just trying to survive it. I don't think it's going to be working.
I think too, Chaz and I were talking today that, that every week's felt like a little bit different. There was that first week where it was like, just give people a ton of grace, which we should still give grace, but now we got to move. Like, we've been past that point, but we've got to continue to move, and we got to continue to build the pipeline. And the people that aren't, it's an opportunity to grab huge market share right now. Those people that crawled in a closet. I remember back in 2008, when I get into real estate, and everyone was like, why would you do that? And I was a sponge for a year, and I sold enough houses to make it, and everybody started leaving the business, and I did well. I did well for the rest of my career because I grabbed market share that they could never get back because I was just out there talking to people,
Yeah.
Well, like you said, timeline wise, like the shelter in places are changing, right? So we don't know if it's this week, next month. If you keep waiting, you're going to wake up at the end of it and be like, the whole time just went by. What just happened?
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I think the thing to consider is, what might have taken you a 10-to-1 ratio might take you 50-to-1 right now. But those who are building their pipeline and building their database as you come through the other side of this, it's massive. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not getting people prospecting me right now as much as I used to.
Mm-mm.
No, and you know what, Chaz, when you talk about it, what used to be 10-to-1, maybe 50-to-1 now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in my way of thinking, that's 50-to-1 that's going to convert right now. The other 40, they're going to convert when the dust settles, when everybody gets the go ahead, when everybody feels like, okay, I have the disposable income, I could breathe now, I'm back to work. So all that goodwill that you're putting in, it's not going to disappear. it's going to pay dividends, but it's going to pay dividends down the road.
Yep.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that the money is in the relationship to your list. Like, so it's not just having a big list or a big CRM, it's in the relationship with, and that's why, it's Gary, I saw you, actually I've seen all three of you. Corey, I was on your Facebook today. Was it today or yesterday? I don't even remember.
Today.
It was yesterday. Renee, you did one. Gary, you did one today. And so it's like the ability to get live and connect with your audience is it's easy to do right now. And people are watching and paying attention. So it's in the connection to the relationship with your list, not just having a list, right?
Oh,
Correct.
For sure.
I got a guy that deactivated said, I just don't have time to attend a phone call once a week now. And the thing that's crazy about it is I'm not going to burn that bridge because he's going to be one of those boomerang people that come back around.
Yep.
Because if you don't have time to do a 1 hour phone call once a week now, your pipeline's going to empty out. You're going to wake up one day and say, what happened to all my business? And it's like, hey, can I get back into that master network thing? Absolutely. Absolutely. We see it all the time.
I want to know which one of you offended Renee.
I know. What the heck?
Oh, there she is. Hold on.
She turned into a record and then she's gone. Oh, there she is.
I had a little visitor.
Oh, it's okay.
It's all good. It's all good.
Welcome.
It's all good.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was going to be good or not. That's why I had to check.
My kids, my office window's right here, and they're actually outside in the dark, like they were putting their faces up on the window the whole time. And I think it was annoying them because I was just looking at the camera. I wasn't even giving them the attention.
Are you just trying to say hi to Gary? You met him this week. She popped in on Gary and my face-to-face earlier, so.
Hey.
All right, see ya.
Looks like Mike Forrest has a question. See that, Chaz?
So Mike, do you want to hop on with us? I'd love to have you live. Can one of you send him the link and see if he can hop on?
Yeah, let me send it to him, and then if he can get on.
Yeah, and what's interesting is Mike Forrest is in the St. Louis area, and he does a lot of networking, and has even run some of our chapters, some of our Master Networks chapters. So he does a great job. This is the power of this. There's so many people trying to figure out what's going on right now. And Gary, you talked about this on your Facebook Live today, that the power of a network in asking questions, the Q&A is so powerful. When I go speak on stages, if you will, and speak in front of venues and groups, what people really love the most is the Q&A, because it's where it has to get real, and it gets granular, and it gets pragmatic, and it gets, right to where I have to implement and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, Mike, I'd love to answer your question. If you can come on, it would be even better.
Yeah, so Mike, I just sent it to you in Facebook Messenger, buddy.
Well, Chaz, to your point, the speech a lot of time is scripted. You have notes, you have cards,
sure.
Or whatever. But the Q&A is raw. It's real because you don't know what's coming, and sometimes you get caught off guard. But people, they feel like they connect at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's important to be real with them.
Yeah.
And just like our face-to-face today, Steve was on here earlier. We were joking about, but he asked great questions. Like, I was so put off by his questions. He found out so much about me that I was like, whoa, we covered all this ground in an hour. But it's the questions that people come up with that, stimulate better conversation and more interesting for sure.
Yeah. So we'll hit Mike's question, and there he is. Hang on.
The great Tina Campbell taught him. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why he asked good questions.
All right, let's bring Mike on. Looks like he joined us. Hey, hang on.
Stimulate better conversation.
Mike,
he is.
Mike, can you if you've got your Facebook open, can you?
Yeah, let me mute one thing. Hold on.
I muted his mic until if you can shut down Facebook, because we're getting the delayed feedback. Let me see. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. All right, you want to ask your question?
Sure. So I've been doing a lot of looking back out of all my net meetings I keep track of. Wow. I've noticed that I've done a lot more attending meetings than I have actually face-to-face sit-downs with people. How do I guard that in the future moving forward? So I want to make sure that I'm doing more face-to-faces with people, connecting on that relationship level, than I am sitting in meetings.
Can you set a goal for yourself of X face-to-face meetings, like even a ratio of if I go to a meeting with 10 people, I'm meeting 3 of them face-to-face or whatever that is?
That's a great idea. Thank you.
Use the stack. Use the face-to-face stack. That really helps.
And I do that. and I do that. So that's
I would just say it's time blocking and being intentional about, like, at the beginning of the week. So to me, here's the hard part. This is hard sometimes for people to hear, who know me and know what my schedule looks like, in the sense is that I rarely have the ability, when someone messages, say, hey, could you attend my meeting today? My week is already planned out for the most part. I have a few open spots, but mostly I don't. And so it's important to be able to, with intentionality, say, this is where I value my time. I'm going to do 4 meetings this week and no more, because I need the rest of it to be, the face-to-face meetings. And so someone said, Cameron said, can you explain the face-to-face stack? So Corey, you want to take a crack at that?
Sure. Yeah, it's a great tool. Many of us, as we schedule face-to-faces, like when you're trying to coordinate face-to-faces, if you don't do the stack, you're driving all over town, you're doing face-to-faces all over the place, and you could spend, 3 hours and maybe get a face-to-face or 2 in. So the face-to-face stack brings those folks to you. So maybe you pick, Panera Bread or something like that, whatever you have in your area. Once we get back to actually being able to go into Panera Bread, and you actually invite, you block your time. So you block maybe 3 hours at a Panera Bread or something, and you invite folks to you. So you say, I have this time slot open, would love to do a face-to-face. And you fill those slots up. And what you do is you run them right up against each other, and you can be very strategic as to who you have in those face-to-faces. And not only are you doing a face-to-face with those people, but you get to introduce the 2 people, the person that's leaving the face-to-face and the new one that's coming, to each other. So you're also making a connection there. So it's just a great way to better utilize your time with face-to-faces and be more efficient with it. The book,
the 7 levels of communication, Michael Mayer, he talks about the face-to-face stack. And, like, it'd be, let's say Corey's a loan officer and I do a face-to-face with him at 10, and Gary has a, company called the Credit Cops. Well, when Gary shows up, even virtually, right, you could do the same Zoom room. And when Gary pops in, you say, hey, you know what, Corey, before you go, I got another meeting with Gary, but I want the 2 of you to meet real quick. Gary comes in, you say, hey, Gary, this is, Corey. Corey is a loan officer. Gary has the Credit Cops. I think the 2 of you should connect. And then they'll set up their own. But see, the power is both Corey and Gary now see me as a valuable asset because I just connected the 2 of them, right? And this is such a powerful, powerful thing. So really important. Jay makes a point, please choose a locally owned coffee shop or restaurant. Well, I agree with that. However, I also want to be careful because, I don't know if Panera Bread is, but a lot of even the name big brand companies understand they're locally owned, many of them. So, I see a lot of sort of like, don't choose this brand, choose this brand because they're run by local. No, sometimes the big brands are franchise owned and they're in just as much of a challenge as the big ones too. So, and I know Jay's making that point, but so Mike, is that helpful?
Yes, it's very helpful. Thank you so much. Keeping my number of meetings to 3 or 4 is probably a wise choice there. And then that way I can make sure that all the other meetings are face-to-faces. And then that network stacking, it does work well. I usually choose the local Denny's.
Yeah, that's awesome.
At a meeting, you can go this deep, right? And at a face-to-face, you go much, much deeper. So it's more effective in the long run.
Well, the thing I like about what Corey and Chaz were talking about the stacking is you're building social currency, but because you're showing other synergy partners how you're of value, because you're almost like a matchmaker for a lot of other people and industries if you stack it properly. And I think Cameron asked the question of when's the ideal time. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're scheduling this properly and you're building your calendar out, like Chaz, if someone called him today, his week's already spoken for. So what's the ideal time? Well, the ideal time is when you're available, right? Mm-hmm. You create value in yourself that the people in the community know you're a connector. If everybody in St. Louis said, hey, if you need to know somebody, get with Mike Forrest. Mike knows everybody. Well, if you have that value, then people will move their schedule around, right? And I've got a great chapter president here whose meeting is from 9:30 to 10:30. Then they do a chapter lunch once a month. But that afternoon, that day, it's your Master Networks day. So she may have a face-to-face in the morning. She does her meeting from 9:30 to 10:30, and they have leadership or chapter lunch. And then from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock is her stacked face-to-faces. And trust me, when people say, I can't make this Thursday, okay, well, let's book next Thursday. You know, it's one of those things. If you say yes to everything, sometimes you're going to have to say no to something else. So if everybody in your community knows that Thursday's your day that you're stacking, then they're going to be booking 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, and that's okay.
Yep. Yeah. The other huge value too is that if you're doing these stacks at like the same place every single week, think about the people that regularly go into these places too. You get the same group of people that go in there. They also get to know you. Not only that, the owners of the business get to know you. You're inviting people into you start to build a network and a sphere within the actual restaurant or wherever the heck you're meeting. And they start to think of you, right? Like Gary said, they start to think of you as that expert because you're always in there talking about your business and stuff. So it can be massive if you create consistency with it.
And they'll take good care of you and make you good coffee too.
That's true.
And at some point, listen, their business may evolve, their business may change. Now all of a sudden they have a bigger restaurant. They know you're a regular. You're constantly bringing new people in that are they're being introduced to their product or their restaurant. Now their restaurant grows and now they have a private meeting room, and lo and behold, they love you, Mike. So they'd love for you to launch a Master Networks chapter at your new location. I mean, the ramifications of this just keeps going on. It's like kinetic energy, man. It just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning.
Yep. Mike, the thing is, if you don't control your time, somebody else will.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's just a big thing to have the parameters and control your calendar. So, man, appreciate you hopping in and asking a great question, Mike.
Thank you.
And tell Ashley we said hi.
I certainly will.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Be well.
Thanks, Mike. See you, buddy.
Bye.
That's a good guy right there.
Ashley's
He's like, look at my book. Has it right there.
Yeah, for sure. We just had, so again, let me subtly put up here the Business Success Summit on the screen.
So one of our speakers is on, I think. I'm not sure.
He was just on, and I messaged him to see if he wants to hop on. And it's a little bit we'll see if he does. I messaged him, he said, let me check my hair. That was his response.
So good. I mean, he is the king of lives, right? So
he's the live stream king.
that's right. Live stream king. That's right.
He bought the livestreamking.com.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he named it and claimed it. You guys, really though, his training in the summit is really, really good. His training's so good. In fact, he did check his hair, and he's got a hat on.
There he is.
Up?
So welcome, Ken Walls. Hey, I'm getting Facebook feedback. If you have Facebook open, I'm getting the delay.
I don't have it open.
There it went. No, I don't know. Are you guys getting it? Okay.
Mm-mm.
Let me make sure I got everyone removed. Who's not in. Hey, man, welcome to our live.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. Are you still getting feedback?
I am, but it's okay. Just me.
Well, let me refresh. That'll fix it. Hang on. I'll be right back.
He would know.
He would know. You guys, like, truthfully, he sent me a text today. I wanted to bring this up when he hops on here. Let's see if this worked. Let's see if it worked.
And,
Is he on day 1 or day 2, Chaz?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but he's already, if you upgrade to early access, you can get his training right now. So Ken sent me a text. No, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. Do you have, I don't know if maybe the volume's too high or something. I don't know. Whatever.
I'm on the lowest volume setting. I thought of that already.
I think Chaz
You'll
used
just
to
have
get
hear
some
me twice,
baffles.
dude.
Yeah, it's all good, man. So Ken sent me a text today and he said, you got a problem. Now listen, you guys, you're going to get to know Ken, especially as you go through the training. His training was incredible. But he said, you got a problem. And I said, what's that? He said, I'm not getting notified. I can't see your Facebook lives every night. I was like, what are you talking about? One little thing he helped me with today. He said, go to your Facebook stream and you need to change your setting. Well, tell him what you told me.
Well, it's just a setting inside of Facebook that when you're using a third-party software to broadcast to Facebook, oftentimes when it says, accept at Facebook, a lot of people leave it defaulted to friends only. And I didn't have, for some reason, I didn't have notifications for your lives on. I mean, we're friends on Facebook, so I don't know what happened, but that setting was also turned off where it was, it was showing friends only. So
I went to, there's, next to your name, there's a little drop down and it has like two people, looks like they're friends, or the kind of the globe. And you just need to drop down and change it. And in your posts and go to the settings and change it. So I did that, man. That's why you're the live stream king.
Well, that, and I bought the domain.
There's that detail.
So Ken, let me just quickly introduce you. I got Corey Bauman here, who's my COO.
Hey, Ken.
Hey, Corey.
Gary LaRue, who's our regional partner for North Texas, and Renee Pride, who's Central Illinois.
Hello.
Renee, you're neighbors then. I'm in Ohio, right down the street.
Yes, my sister lives in Ohio.
What part?
Toledo.
She's I'm in Marion, which is about an hour and 20 minutes south of Toledo.
She is still an Illinois fan, though.
Yeah,
Takes a while.
We'll get to her.
So Ken, you've been doing. I just want you guys to understand what the power is. Ken, we had, I don't know when you hopped on, but we've had some people hop in here asking their business questions about how they can connect and find leads and all that stuff. And you did a great job in the summit talking about how to do that through Facebook Live and other live streams. But you've been doing how many live streams are you doing a day?
I was literally getting ready to go live.
No, we messed
when
it
I
up.
saw you were live. I swear I was, because I see a lot of people live streaming that need to stop. Is that terrible? But I've done probably, I don't know. I was just talking to somebody about this, 2,200, 2,300 live streams. And I'm friends with Grant Cardone. I'm friends with, I introduced you to Mark Victor Hansen and his wife. They're a good friend. I mean, I've met a lot of people and trained a lot of people on how to do this properly and engage with the audience properly and pay attention to, and I'm not even following my own advice. I forgot to click on live comments over here so I could see live comments. But engage with your audience. Like, oh, hey, look, there's Gary LaRue in the audience, and there's Barbara. Hey, Barbara, how you doing? And just taking a second to say hi, maybe even throw their comments up on screen. Let people know that you value the fact that they just took a few minutes out of their day to pop on and see what the heck you're talking about, And there's so many people that do live streaming that have the potential of making millions of dollars as a result of their live streaming, but they never will because A, they already know everything, and B, they never pay attention to their audience. It's all about them and their intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
So true, you guys. His course is so good. You're going to learn so much. And he mentioned some names, and even in our interview, I said to you, because he's a little hesitant. He's not a name dropper, but this guy is so connected and doing through Facebook Live. You had a live, I was actually watching. You had Jeffrey Gitomer. If you guys don't know who Jeffrey Gitomer is, he wrote the book, The Little Red Book of Sales, right?
Little Red Book of Selling, yep.
Yep. And he had Jeffrey Gitomer on and Grant Cardone on the same Facebook stream like this. And then, you got Jeffrey Gitomer and Grant Cardone on Ken Wall's live stream. Right?
Yeah.
Did they have anything to say?
What's that?
Did they have anything to say?
Oh no, they were both so quiet. It was
Ken just watched.
They actually were arguing like two little schoolgirls on my live stream. I'm like, come on, you guys! But it was fun. I mean, but they do go. They know each other really well. So Jeffrey and I were live. I was helping him promote his new book called Get Stuff Done. That's not the title, but you know. Yeah. I'm keeping it PG, but so Grant came on the stream, said love you guys in the comments. I'm like, oh wow, look, there's Grant Cardone, dude. let's invite him in. And so I sent Grant the link, and he jumped on, and I had two legends. And I mean, honestly, it was an honor for me. I was just completely blown away. So yeah, it was kind of cool.
But you guys, if you first of all, you should go become friends with Ken and follow his page and watch his Facebook lives. Because he has amazing people on his Facebook lives multiple times a day. And a lot of them now are coming to him because they want to get on his show. And he's not chasing people down. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, Chaz. I appreciate Chaz, you know how to edify people, man. That's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's completely true. I mean, you literally inspired me. I mean, this is what's interesting, and this is the absolute honest, authentic truth. And I shared this with you before we interviewed for the summit, why I asked you to be part of it. A lot of you guys don't know the story of how Ken and I met. So Ken was working for a company years ago, which shall remain nameless. And there's a story there, but we won't go there. But
it's on the west side of the United States.
It is.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And he was the sales rep, and he was doing a great job.
I do.
Yeah, Corey was part of that. But guys, this is how small a world it is. This is why the power of a network. So Ken was the guy we reached out to, or it was assigned to us. I don't know how it worked, but I had conversations with him, emails back and forth. We ended up at that point deciding that it wasn't the right time for us to purchase that product. Well, fast forward, some time goes by. We do purchase the product. Kathy Inman, who's a member of Master Network, says, "Hey, I got a guy you need to connect with." Ken and I get on the phone and we start talking, and I'm like, "Dude, I recognize that voice. It was your voice. It was your soothing voice." And I said, "Ken Walls, the name's familiar." I go in my email and I type his name in, and boom, pops up. And I'm like, "Wait, you're in Ohio. Did you used to work for this company?" He's like, "Yep." I'm like, "What in the world?" A year later, 18 months later, we get connected through someone else.
It was so you could be on my show.
She connected us so I could be on your show.
Yeah.
And so we start talking, and what I learned from Ken, number one, is he just gives and he helps people all the time. But when the COVID-19 thing started, I watched Ken, and I watched how he was connecting with his audience and going live. And I even jumped on one of his lives one night. He was talking about something. I said, "Oh my gosh, you are speaking something I'm fired up about." And he's like, "Hop on right now." And I came on his live and we talked through it. And I remember walking away from that going, this guy's onto something, the way he's connecting with his audience and his tribe. And it really inspired me to go live every night. And I've been doing it now 30 something nights straight,
Wow.
weekdays. Yeah.
Have you really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did I know that?
I don't know.
30 something. Wow.
I mean, it's not 2,200 lives, but we're doing every night at 8 p.m. Central.
What's your domain? Livestream King?
Livestreaming king.com.
Okay. So he's junior. You need a junior domain, Chaz.
Yeah, right. Livestreamingkingjr.com.
Yeah, junior. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, so look, I know you were about to go live, so thanks for hopping on. I didn't mean to take you away from your
You're fine, man.
17th live of the day. That's right. That's right.
I'm with you right now.
Are you doing your show tonight, or did you already do it?
No, I did it. I started I don't know if you guys know who Glenn Morshower is. He was agent. Man, I'm getting like subscribers and stuff right now. I'm getting notifications, Chaz. He was agent Aaron Pierce on the TV show 24 for 7 years. He was in Black Hawk Down. He was in. He's been an actor for 45 years in Hollywood. Well, Glenn is like a brother to me, and this happened because of live streaming, by the way. And so him and I we really connected. I love this guy. He's like a brother. He hits me up after we did a couple of live streams together, and he says, "Ken, we need to do a show together." And I said, "What do you, I already have a show." He goes, "I know, but I want to do a show with you, a separate one, and we'll call it the Ken and Glenn Show. I even give you top billing. I go, what the hell's top billing even mean, dude? I don't even know what that means. He's like, that means your name comes first. And I go, oh, okay. So we put together, and then one night I had another friend of mine who's a big time, he's in the Speaker Hall of Fame, buddy of mine, Scott McCain, comes on, and Scott has this voice that
Yes, he does.
if you hear it, you're like, that's what I want to hear when I get to heaven. Like that's the voice, like it's God's voice or something. And so Scott jumps in one of our live streams. I invite him in. Glenn falls in love with Scott, and I already love Scott. And he calls me the next day, dude, we got to include Scott on the show. And I'm like, okay, fine. So it's no longer the Ken and Glenn show. That kind of goes well. And he goes, I know, let's figure it out. So we have a show called The Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott. And it's a blast. And we do it on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. And it's me and Glenn Morshower, Scott McCain, and we had one celebrity comedian on, Raj something. He's a friend of Glenn's. And so Glenn's got a Rolodex with, people like Kiefer Sutherland and all these other people in it. And he's like, dude, we're going to open up the Rolodex and get some other people on and have a lot of fun. And it's just been a blast. We've done it 2 weeks now, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, check it out. We have a Facebook page too, the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott. That so literally is what it's called.
And, so you think about what he's doing, you guys, and how he's networking and spreading his network through Facebook Live and sort of creating a show that is you can invite people to and have on here, and it's really powerful. We actually have Roger Wakefield watching too. He also is one of the speakers in the summit, and he did a phenomenal job about going live as well. He particularly talks about YouTube videos and LinkedIn and so forth. But I mean, you got Roger and Ken. By the way, if you two haven't connected, you should, Ken. I'll connect you with Roger.
Awesome. Nice to meet you, Roger. And if there's anybody, I don't. I mean, unless the feedback's driving you crazy, it would drive me crazy. By the way, so
I'm already crazy.
If you want to bring anybody on and that I could help out in any way, real quick, I'd be glad to.
And see, he's always giving. Yeah. Tina Campbell says, "Love Ken's Facebook Lives."
Hey, Tina, thank you.
I know you got like Coach Glow is watching your lives all the time. She's one of our tribe.
Mm-hmm. She's awesome.
We introduced her. Yeah. If anyone wants to hop on, Roger, if you want to hop on, Corey,
I sent him the link.
Perfect. I think you can have 6 people in here, right?
Yep, you can. And
Boy,
and Chaz,
you might break the darn internet.
If you click that, I don't know. You have a. I was going to say there's a way to make everybody bigger on the screen too. There you go.
It's Conversations with Chaz.
Yeah, it's all about me, man. We didn't tell you that.
You got your overlay though. You said it's all about.
Oh, it's overlay's done.
Wow.
Done.
But see, now people on a little phone that are holding it like this, they'll be able to see us better instead of having to go. Anyway. So, no, man, I appreciate you having me come on. If nobody has questions that I can help them with, I will say that, Facebook Live, it's because of Grant Cardone 6 years ago when I met the dude and I had a show on his network and he's like, you need to go live. And he said, you need to beat this thing. Like I forget some vulgar term he used, but he said like, you need to like abuse social media. Like it's a tool. And
that doesn't sound like Grant.
We're a late show now. It's 9:00.
Yeah.
10 Eastern. Cross the PG.
Has Renee's daughter standing right behind her. No, I'm just kidding.
My daughter's out there, so. But you just need to you need to use, and somebody said it in the comments. I want to go up here and look real quick.
Yeah.
Steven said Facebook Live is an untapped tool that needs to be utilized more. I totally agree, and I think that I think that not only does it need to be used more, it needs to be used correctly, Because if you have an audience of 100 people, and remember, the average Facebook Live visitor is 3 minutes. That's all you got them for. So if the entertainment value is not there, and you're not funny, or you don't know how to be funny, or you don't know how, and I'm not saying I'm definitely not the funniest guy in the world, but if you don't know how to engage with the audience, then you need to take some training. I mean, I've invested, I don't even know how much, I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars in training, and I still suck sometimes.
No, you're great, man. You're the best. I can you just take a second while we see if, but we may see if Roger comes in here or if anyone has a question. I'm just told people use StreamYard. Somebody asked that, but I want to ask you a question or have you share your experience, because I want you all to hear something. When Ken told me this experience, this story that he had of how you met Grant Cardone.
Yeah,
because it's really fascinating and there's a big lesson in it. And I've told your story a number of times to groups when I'm speaking, because I just think it's really smart when I talk about how you can buy your way in and earn your way in.
Yep.
Can you share quickly what happened?
Well, and that's another thing, and I teach this in my course, and that is, a lot of people, don't have a ton of money to throw at if I want to meet somebody, especially a celebrity, you've got to do something. Like, what can I do for a guy worth $300 million? Nothing. Like, hey, do you want to borrow my jet? Oh, that's right, I don't have one. So can I borrow yours? But like, what can I do for him? I can't do anything for him. So I noticed that they liked wine. Him and his wife Elena, they like wine, and so I'm like, what can I do? And I had a client that we built her. I do websites and have done for years, but we did this woman's website. She's a custom winemaker. It's a winery here in Columbus, and she does custom labels on the bottles of wine. I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have I call my head graphic designer in my office. I said, I want you to make a nice label for a wine bottle with Grant, Elena, and the kids, and lay it out, put the world's favorite 10X family and all this on the bottle or on the label. I'm going to put it on bottles of wine, and I'm going to get them to Grant. So we get these things in, and I'm like, it's a Thursday, and I was like, God, I got too much going on this weekend, and I can't, I want to take them down, but I just can't, so I'll just mail them. And so they're in these styrofoam things, and then I'm thinking, and I'm a client. I was paying them $1,000 a month for access to the Cardone University, right? So when I first called and said, I need to talk to Grant, my rep's like, yeah, he's not going to be able to take your call. And I go, oh, well, when's he going to be available? And he's like, never. And I'm like, well, I spend $1,000 a month. What are you talking about? And he's like, dude, you do realize he probably drops that accidentally every day and like doesn't even stop to pick it up. Like,
let me bring Roger in here really quick. I just want to make sure he's in it.
Hey, Roger, how you doing?
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Hey, so Roger, I just wanted to bring you on, but Ken, you probably hear Ken's telling a pretty awesome story about how he met Grant Cardone.
Yeah. So
Absolutely, keep going, Ken. I'm enjoying it.
So I said, anyway, I that's when I said, well, I got to do something to get his attention, because I wanted him as a client too, and so I'm sitting there with these bottles of wine. I'm ready to ship them. My assistant's in my office, and I said, well, we need to ship these. I want them overnighted. I want them in his office tomorrow morning in Miami, and then all of a sudden I'm like, God, what if he opens these and like red wine comes splashing out all over his white shirt? And that's not how I want to get his attention. I'm like, crap. So I go, I wish I had the time. I'd just fly down there myself. And my assistant looks at me and she goes, I'll go. She's 20 years old at the time. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Are you allowed to carry alcohol? And I'm like, she goes, I'll be fine. I want to go. And I said, really? And she goes, yeah. And I said, look, how much is a flight? Where's it going? What time? And I go, you literally have 2.5 hours this plane leaves. You need to fly home, get back here. I'll have this other employee of mine take you to the airport, and you got to be there in an hour and a half. Like literally, you can't be late. She's like, done, and she gone. And I mean, she went and she met him the next morning in the lobby at his office. And him and Elena were late that morning, so we were freaking out. But anyway, they did walk in. She got his attention. She's this cute young girl, and Elena and Grant just loved her. And then Grant called me, and he's like, dude, this is the classiest thing anybody's ever done for me. I swear to God, that's what he said. And I'm like, dude, come on. You drive a Rolls Royce, bro. Somebody's done something cooler than get you some wine. But that's just the way he is, man. He's very good at edifying people and making them feel like, hey, I appreciate you. And so then he said, if there's ever anything I can do for you, let me know. And I go, there is one thing you could do for me. And he goes, what's that? And I go, I want you as a client. And I go, he goes, well, what do you do? I go, I pay you $1,000 a month. I'm kidding. I would not have said that. But anyway, I said I do websites and search engine optimization and stuff. And so I did Grant's SEO on his website for a couple of years. He became a client. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. So, awesome. And I've known he's been on live streams. I interviewed him on the show that I had on his network, and super guy. Love
what him. An awesome, you see the experience that Ken had where he just said, I'm going to get this guy's attention, and went to, how many people would go to those lengths to get somebody's attention and be that serious?
I gotta underscore it with this, because that everybody watching right now, that maybe you have $5,000, $10,000 in the bank, 20, 100, I don't know, but I had literally $2,300 in my account and nowhere to get more money at the time. And that trip, putting her in a hotel, making sure she had some cash in her pocket, just in the event of needing some cash in her pocket. And, the whole thing cost me quite a bit of money out of the $2,300 I had. So I literally was kind of going all in, so to speak. Yeah. Because they cost, I don't know, $1,500 probably after hotel, airfare, and all of that. And because I also let her stay an extra day on me for doing that. And so, sometimes you got to take a chance. It's the biggest and best chance I ever took in my life, by far, because Grant blew me up. I have 50-some thousand fans on my Facebook fan page. I'm always at the Facebook limit with 5,000 friends. I have 15,000 Instagram followers, 6,000, 7,000 on Twitter. All of that because of one moment in time when I'm like, you know what? I don't have the money, but screw it. Let's do it. Would have been way cheaper to spend $30 to have UPS, overnight that, but I just couldn't take that risk. I don't know. So
I'm going to change it because Kenneth Cole, Ken Walls, the resourcefulness stories that we're sharing are all Ken. So you like Ken.
That's what a clue looks like.
Yeah.
Hey, and so you take the live streaming king, Ken Walls, and then you've got Roger Wakefield. And Roger, and forgive me if I don't have the stats off the top of my head, but you took a YouTube following of 300 to 20,000 in 1 year?
300 to 20,000 from December to 300 to just over 20,000 in one physical year.
And your profession is what?
Beg your pardon?
Your profession.
It's funny, Ken, you talk about getting in front of Grant, and Grant says, what do you do? Chaz actually called me one day and says, hey, do you know a plumber in the Dallas area? And I'm like, Chaz, come on, look. No, I'm a plumber. And that's really what I do. And I decided, kind of like you, Ken, I wanted to do something different. So I jumped into social media, and I jumped in with both feet. And it's funny because, if you look at the room you're in, Gary, Corey, and Chaz all knew me back before that, when all I did was plumbing, and that's all I ever talked about. And 2 years ago, I jumped into social media with both feet. And I started with YouTube, then I started with LinkedIn, then I started doing LinkedIn Live, then I started doing YouTube Live, and
Wow.
it's been phenomenal. And at the end of the day, look, I'm a plumber. That's exactly what I do all day, every day.
But people recognize you all over the world now because of those YouTube videos on plumbing.
Mm-hmm.
So my point I'm making, Roger, and you do this in your class on the Business Success Summit, is some people think, well, I'm not a Grant Cardone influencer. I'm not a, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's not the point of what this is about.
And it's not. And, Chaz, you know that I went to the social media marketing world the end of February, the beginning of March. And Michael Stelzner, the director, talked about me for 5 minutes. And he said, look, guys, this is somebody who walked in here 2 years ago and literally knew nothing about social media. And at the time, my business was failing. If it would not have been for Master Networks, we would have shut down because I was still getting referrals because of my network. But I had to keep, at the time, I think I had 4 plumbers. And I walked in and Julie literally called me while I was there. And she says, look, by the time you get home, we're probably going to be shut down. She said, we've got calls coming in, but it's not enough to keep the whole company going. And I walked back in and I was like, look, I don't have to just understand this. I have to learn this and master it. And a month later, we started putting up videos on YouTube. And what I learned in that session was, look, it's not just the tools that you get. It's not just how to do it. But look, you and Chaz is great about this. Build an implementation schedule. Schedule it. Get it going. Get moving in the right direction. And, it has completely changed my life and changed my world.
Man, it's so good. And I see a common theme with these stories.
Mm-hmm.
$2,300 in the account, not enough money when we get back to keep the door open. I talk about the $27 I had in my bank account. Gary, I know you've talked about that when, the credit slap came and you guys were working on, as a credit repair restoration company and all this. And I know, Renee, you've got similar, everyone has this experience of when they've had to risk it when their back was against the wall to go. And there's people listening right now. I see some of the names here that I've had personal conversations with who are feeling that right now. And so just understand, if you're not sure what's going to happen and how it's going to work and how you get through this, then lean on people here who say, look, this is what it's going to take to get through it and how to double down and make it work. It's just, and again, subtly, I'm just going to put up on the screen the,
1985.
I'm just saying, newsflash, the Business Success Summit for the value, which is free, or you can upgrade to the early access pass, which we've had just so many people do. And it's super exciting that's happening. So, man, how awesome is it that we have 2 of the speakers in the Business Success Summit hop in?
I was just going to say that Gary and I are going to have something to contribute to this summit so that we can be speakers too. We got you.
Let's do it. I do want to ask though, Ken, a question came in. Let me unmute you here. A question came in, I think from Tina before. Let me see if I can, here it is. Ken, do you plan your guests in advance? It seems like people are just popping in.
It depends it depends. Most of the time, yes, but sometimes people do just happen along. They're in the comments and I may send them a private message and say, hey, do you want to pop on the stream? But most of the time I plan it. Yeah.
Like tonight we had 3 planned and I think we've ended up with 6 or 7 tonight.
Yeah. I didn't even know. So I just saw you were live and I jumped on. So
Ken's like, gosh, it's either give myself a haircut or hop on this live.
I don't have clippers yet. I ordered clippers so I could, get a nice tight fade. And
I cut
Roger. Yeah, Roger went haircut.
I know. I was about ready to say I'm gonna visit your barber pretty soon, Roger. This is.
I do it all myself. It works great.
Yeah.
I think Gary and I were talking last week. We want to reinvest in the Flowbee. And I remember the Flowbee.
I have one in my basement.
No.
Prove it. I don't
No,
believe
you
it.
don't.
I did.
Get it out. I want to see it.
Oh my God.
There you go.
That's awesome. You go, Renee.
She's got to use it though. She's got to give herself a haircut.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's what we should live stream. Ken, you should live stream giving yourself a haircut.
With the
I am
Flowbee.
not going to do that.
That would be good. That'd be good.
No way.
What we should do is just end the live stream before she comes back.
Yeah, cut it off. Where'd everybody go?
Wow. And what does Renee? What's her part in this? I'm sorry, I missed that.
So Renee is the Master Networks regional partner for Central Illinois.
That's right.
Roger and his wife Julie are the regional partners for Houston.
Nice.
Gary's North Texas. Corey is the COO and Pennsylvania regional partner. So, man, you're in good company. All my partners are on this live stream.
That's awesome.
I mean, we might be talking to. Oh, there it is.
Oh my gosh.
No
You gotta be
way.
kidding.
You've
Plug that
got
thing
to
in.
be kidding.
To you.
Plug it in. Let me see how it works.
Let's-
I don't believe it works.
I don't know how it works.
I mean,
You just happen to have one
Yeah.
laying around?
My
That is
husband
so
uses
random.
it. No, he uses it. I'm not even joking. He's always done it. I'll have to throw up a picture of him because he doesn't look that bad.
Oh my. She said he doesn't look that bad.
He's constantly wearing a hat, but he doesn't look
Was
that bad.
that a compliment? Wow.
He's always got a toboggan on.
I did go steal it. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I need your Flowbee for a minute."
Oh my
I mean that thing's iconic. You might let's see.
It
Can we get $200 for that right now?
Yeah, let's
I'll
auction
bet.
it
Going
thing
once.
off.
Hey, you can come over. We can do in the driveway. We can do haircuts in the driveway, baby.
I thought it plugs into doesn't that thing plug into a shop vac?
Generator.
Yeah, vacuum cleaner, right?
Yeah, look at her. Oh, the price just doubled.
Yeah, right.
You don't also have a Bass-O-Matic in there, do you?
Oh, man.
I think it was a Christmas present one year to like all of the sons-in-law, like from my parents. But yeah.
There's like 25-year-old people on here that have no.
It wasn't
clue
just
what
one
we're
that was
talking about right now. They're
repeated
just
over
like,
and over and over again.
Wow. Flowbee
Flowbee.
Fridays. That's awesome.
So for some reason, I'm just gonna say our viewership was at 50. And we started talking about Flowbee. It went to 30.
Everybody's tagging people now. Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, listen, guys. Like honestly, what an awesome group. Appreciate the questions we had tonight. It was good. We started with Steven in New York. Had Mike Forrest from St. Louis, and then we had the legends Roger and Ken hop on.
Mm-hmm.
What an awesome night to have you guys on. I really appreciate you guys hopping on tonight.
Thank you for having me, for sure.
Yeah, Chaz, thank you very much. And I've got friends that have jumped in from New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I'm telling them about Master Networks up there.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
That's going to be great. This is going to be really good for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gary, I think you're from New Jersey, right?
Well, that's what the birth certificate says. Yep.
So, no, I love it. This is great. We got people from all over the country here joining us and looking. You can be part of the summit, be part of Master Networks. There's the summit. Again, the ticker across the bottom. mnbusinesssuccesssummit.com. We couldn't have bought a domain with more consecutive S's in it.
Spin the wheel. I'll take an S.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But it's really awesome. 20 plus speakers. We're adding more each day, and really amazing time. So appreciate first of all, the two of you being part of that summit and spreading the word. So, man, what a great night. We broke the record tonight, 1 hour and 18 minutes. Ken, you'd be proud of me. I know you had one that went like 4 hours, but right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's like 1 a.m. or something.
It was so late. Yeah. It was late. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate all of you. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. We'll see you again tomorrow, 8 p.m. Central. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks,
Okay.
guys. See you later. Take care.